This video will contain spoilers. I'm recording this while driving, at least for the first, 3 minutes. One bottle after another. I'll do the cast and shit when I'm parked. I want to do this immediately, but I don't want to do it right here because I want to go to somewhere more private. Because a lot of people are comparing this to Eddington, I will be doing a little bit of comparing it to Eddington. To be clear about Eddington, I went into it expecting disappointment, and I was disappointed if you haven't seen my review. As for this, I went into this quite excited. The trailer looked very, very interesting. I actually hadn't seen the trailer for Eddington. I'd only ever seen the teaser. But I knew enough about the plot to know that it's not going to be something I'm going to enjoy. But the trailer for One Battle After Another looked great, so I couldn't wait. In fact, it is currently my wallpaper for my home screen on my phone. So, I've been looking forward to this. I didn't like it. These people could pass. It starts off with a flashback that... Oh, to be clear, I missed the first, 5 minutes of the film because I had to drive somewhat slowly to the cinema because we're having really, really bad weather right now. But, starts off with a flashback. I'm going to assume the flashback takes place in 2009 because they explain that the rest of the film takes place 16 years later. And the scene is Leo DiCaprio, his girlfriend, and their freedom fighter group infiltrating some sort of camp. I'm going to assume it's an ICE detention facility. But the problem with having a scene like that is the fact that if it does take place in 2009, that's Obama's administration, and all people. There are some people that have compared ICE detention facilities to concentration camps. Obama's the one that made them, so just keep that in mind. I'm pulling up to the place now. Let me just find where's the best place to park. I'll go in the corner. This place is bigger than I thought it would be. Here seems good. Right. Okay. Universally positive ratings. Written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. I've watched it in cinema. Leo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn. So I assume it's an ICE detention facility. Maybe they outright explain what it is, and I just missed it because I missed the start. But it starts with them it seems like they're gonna just liberate the people that are being held there. But I don't think a single one of them leaves. Literally, they break into the place, they wake up all the people that were sleeping, all the prisoners. They then go to Sean Penn. He is also sleeping. They wake him up. He's hard because he has a thing for black women, but at the same time he's racist. Which, I don't mind them doing that. The fact that, he hates black people, but he loves black women because, excuse me, that is a common occurrence for people, whether it be being homophobic, but being gay, or being racist, but loving black women, stuff like that. But they just show his erection. If I want to watch Sean Penn being hard, I will watch his sex tape because at least it's less than 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I could tell from that first scene that this will be woke bullshit, because I had a feeling, like, it seemed like it would be, based on the trailer. And I cannot confirm that it is very, very woke. To condense the plot into something that's easy to understand, because it was quite complicated. Like, there were conflicting synopsises on the film. Like, somewhere I heard it was something to do with Leo teaming up with the KKK or something in order to rescue his daughter, when that's just not true. He does not team up with racists. He teams up with Benicio del Toro. But the point of the film is Sean Penn impregnates Leo's wife / girlfriend. And then cut to 16 years later, Sean is invited to be part of some white supremacist group. And they're asking him a bunch of questions just to make sure that he's, like, pure in air quotes. And then he realizes, oh shit, yeah, I have a mixed race daughter. So he tracks her down, but the resistance group that Leo was part of finds her first and gets her out of there. Leo then goes on the run to try and get to her before Sean does. But Sean gets there first, and they take a DNA test. Turns out they are related. He then brings her to some other guy just to get her out of the way. That guy brings her to some sort of camp. I'm not exactly sure. But I guess he changes his mind because he decides to kill everyone else at the camp. So she runs away. One of the people that invited Sean into the Nazi group kills Sean and then chases after the daughter. And then she kills him, and then she reunites with Leo. It then cuts to Sean actually survived, even though he got a fucking shotgun blast to the face and got into a pretty bad car crash. He then goes back to the group, and they ask him once again if he is pure and all that. He says he claims he was raped by Leo's wife. So they take a moment to consider whether or not to bring him in. They decide, yeah, let's bring him in. They bring him to his office, and like, okay, wait here, we need to get something for you first. And he sits in his office, but they start pouring in some sort of poison or gas or whatever. He dies, they burn the body. It then cuts to Leo and his daughter. The daughter is now part of the resistance movement, and there's a radio call and say, hey, we're protesting 3 hours away from where you live. And the daughter's like, I'm on my way. Film ends. For about 75% of the film, I was thinking, yeah, this just is not entertaining. But then, for the last 25%, I was thinking, I was like, it actually is pretty entertaining. Like, the dialogue, when it's not woke, is quite good. I was trying to compare it to someone else, but I can't think of who to compare it to, so I'll just move on. Excuse me. I feel like a problem with the film is that the trailer shows you everything that's good about the film, and then, like, there are some small bits that, like, they're good, but they're not, on their own, they don't have any meaning to them. So it's just, there's not really any point in watching the film, because if you've seen the trailer, you've seen what there is to see. I heard people talking about the chase scene at the end, talking about, like, someone actually said it is the greatest car chase scene in all of cinema. And I went into the scene thinking, this is not an action film. This is a... I don't know if you could really consider it a thriller. I mean, Google doesn't even consider it a thriller. It's not exciting enough for me to consider it a thriller. It's more like a drama. An exciting drama, I'll say that. This point is, it's not an action film. It's not going to be like Mad Max level car chase. But even with that in mind, the scene itself is just whatever. It overstays its welcome, because before it gets to like the meat of it, you have your setups and all, but the setups take far too long because it just repeats the same shots over and over and over again. It'll show a POV from the daughter. It'll then show a POV from the Nazi. It'll then show a POV from Leo. It'll then show one of them looking into their mirror. And then it'll cut back to another one. And like more POV shots, more looking in the mirror, so on and so on and so on and so on. The only thing that was good about it was the daughter, like, the road they're on is quite... It's got hills and shit to it. And what she does is that she gets to the top of the hill just to the point where you can't see her if you haven't gone up the hill. She then stops the car and gets out, so that because the Nazi is going... let's just assume he's going the speed limit. He's going 60 or 70, whatever it is in America. He's not going to see the car until it's too late, so he crashes into her. I really like that. I've fought while I'm driving, because there is like a somewhat similar road on the way home, where I'm thinking, like, if I'm being chased by someone, I could do that. Like, you know, you have that scenario where, oh, if something bad goes wrong, I'm going to be the badass hero. So I really liked that. But that's all there is to it. So it's not... I wouldn't even consider it a car chase scene. Even though they're doing the speed limit, it seems like they're doing like 20 miles an hour. I don't mind, for example, in Mad Max, where they'll drive slow and then speed up the footage so it looks like they're doing like 100 miles an hour. I don't mind that, because at least it looks like they're going fast. But to have them go fast and edit it to make it look like they're going slow, what the fuck is wrong with you? So, to be clear, and I've said this before in a review a while back, I don't remember what film it was I watched. I'm not a prude. I don't like prudes. But at the same time, I don't like sex constantly in my fucking face. That's what the flashback was, basically. Because Leo's wife is not a good person at all. None of them are good people, because they're literally domestic terrorists. Like, I'm not trying to delve into politics here. They fit the definition. But all she does is fuck, shoot guns, and blow shit up. And it's just... how deluded do you have to be to think you're doing the right thing? Because she thinks that she's doing it for the black cause and whatnot, but she killed quite a few black people. So it's just not... Sorry about that, someone that's passing by. Really, the only people that attempt to be a good person in this film are Leo and Benicio. Everyone else, they are fucked up in some way. Like, you've got the Nazis, they're Nazis, so Yeah. The what was it they called themselves? Like the 75 Liberation Front? They're not liberating anything. Assuming that was a nice detention facility that they were liberating in air quotes, they didn't even liberate them. I forgot to finish that point I was making earlier. They woke up the prisoners, and you would have thought that they're gonna like break them out. They didn't break them out. Like they tossed some like flashbangs or tear gas or something, and they fired some fireworks. And then Leo shouted like, "You're oppressed. We're here to stop that." And then they just drove off without even liberating anything. They then blew up like courthouses and shit because you tried to ban abortion. That's not cool. And speaking of the whole abortion thing, she gets pregnant and they have the baby and all that. And Leo is being a really good dad. Like, he's showing love, attention, all that, all things that a baby needs. And his wife resents him for it. Like, if you've ever seen Shameless, the American one, season 5, Veronica did the exact same thing with Kevin, and I fucking hate it. Like, I really don't want to talk shit about Shameless, but season 5, I fucking hate Veronica. But, Jesus Christ, I don't know if you can hear that, but there are leaves hitting my car, and they're actually like, they could shatter the glass. I'm not lying. Like, as soon as just before I got in the car, I got hit in the face with a leaf, and it really stung. And it was just a fucking leaf. But, moving on. Because of the leaves, I forget the next point I was going to make. I'll have to pause. I do not have a good relationship with my family. There are only like 2 family members that I did have a good relationship with, and they both died. I'm just going to get that off my chest. Anytime I see a sort of family dynamic in a film or a show or whatever, it kind of agitates me. Because it's based on my experience with my family. The writers just can't seem to get it right. Because there'll be a lot of times, like in Place Beyond the Pines, for example, where the child of a character will try to sort of continue the legacy of their parents. So for Place Beyond the Pines, for example, Bradley Cooper killed Ryan Gosling. So Ryan's son hates Bradley's son. And realistically, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That just, like, based on my experience with my family, that just would not happen. And for the example of this film, and this one really doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to call her Willa from now on instead of the daughter. I keep on thinking her name's Freya. But Willa, because the mother fucked off and Leo had retired to take care of Willa, she didn't know about all of that stuff. It wasn't until they came and rescued her from Sean that she learned about all of it. And she asked, was my mother a hero? And the person she was talking to didn't have the heart to tell her that she was a tout, a snitch. So she said yes. And then she later found out that her mum was a tout. And she starts talking shit about her mum because of that. And it's just like, are you really that committed to the cause that you're gonna talk shit about your own mother just for something like that? That makes the Liberation Front or whatever they're called seem like a fucking cult than anything else. And that actually reminds me of another thing. They never go into like any sort of proper detail of what the Liberation Front do, other than just liberate. But something they did outright say is that the nuns that it goes to as like a safe house, they help bring illegal immigrants into the country. Like, the problem with the whole illegal immigration thing is that if you're an illegal immigrant, I'm going to assume you tried to get in legally first and you weren't accepted in. Why weren't you accepted in? Or if you didn't attempt, why not? Because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a really good reason as to why you weren't allowed in the country. Like, you're a fucking terrorist or something. And I'm not saying that all immigrants are terrorists or anything like that. If you came here illegally, good for you. Like, I love that whole American dream thing where you go to America and you give yourself like a good life. I love all that. But if you came here illegally, yeah, there could have been some sort of bullshit that went on, and I do feel for you in that case, but in that case, why do you feel the need to go to America or here or wherever? Like, what is wrong with your home country? If you're at war, then sure, okay. But if it's like Mexico, which isn't at war, maybe it's a shithole. I don't know, I've never been. But why do you feel the need to get away from Mexico? If you are, like, innocent. So that's the whole thing. I don't think there's anything else to say other than I was wanting to give this, like, really wanting to like this. I have a history with Paul Thomas Anderson that it kind of goes up and down. I seen There Will Be Blood a couple years ago, but I watch it at my granny's house, and watching things at my granny's house is like a fucking curse. Like, it's almost impossible to enjoy a film watching at her house because she doesn't shut the fuck up. None of my other family members that are there don't shut up. Just all having like 5 separate conversations at once over the film. So maybe I'll like it if I give it a proper chance, but I can't be bothered. And then I seen Punch Drunk Love, and I did quite like Punch Drunk Love, but it's a comedy. It's the problem. And yeah, this is considered a comedy, but to be honest, it's not that funny. Like, all the funny bits is just the bits in the trailer. The rest of it is just drama. So I wouldn't consider it a dramedy. I would just consider it a drama with comedic moments that are very few and far between. Also, I have a lot of respect for Paul because he defended the MCU against people like Martin Scorsese. Like he said, it is real cinema. So I will praise him for that. But it's just, I wanted to give this like my first sort of proper PTA film. And I was disappointed. It could just be all the people that are glazing it, acting like it's a fucking masterpiece. It's not. I've realized I didn't actually compare the film to Eddington at all. The comparison is that both of them are supposed to be a sort of deep dive into the contemporary world and contemporary America. But the problem with Eddington is it takes place in 2020, which, yeah, it was only 5 years ago, but because of Corona and all that, 2020 was a completely different fucking universe compared to now. So it does not work that way, and just overall was a shit film. This It takes place in the modern day. But all the contemporary shit, it's just... We love woke thing. We love woke thing. But something I do want to point out is, in both films, a character that should have died didn't. You know, Joaquin should have died from the knife to the head. And Sean should have died to the shotgun to the head, but they didn't. This film is a lot better than Eddington, but it's just a decent film. It's nothing more than that. Don't go out of your way to watch it.